Hey guys, welcome back to Lana Vibes. I love New Year's resolutions. I've always been a fan of them. I'm not always good at sticking to them, but 2 years ago, I think it was 2 years ago, 2023, I made a resolution to start a YouTube channel. That was my first video. I think it was 2023. I don't know. It was to start a YouTube channel and to start reading more books. So those were like my main goals that year. And if you go back and watch, I have like all the books that I read that year. I think I read like 12 books that year, but that was like really good for me considering I never really liked books. Now I liked the idea of books, but I was never one to be like, I'm gonna sit down and read a book today. I was always that gal that liked the idea of books. I like to collect books, but I didn't like to read the books. You feel me? I still am like that. I still like to collect the books and I don't read them as fast as I get them, which is a problem. But I just wanted to make a video today to the person that wants to get into reading but doesn't know where to start. It's so easy for when you're jumping into this hobby to say, well, I want to read the entire series of whatever, like Harry Potter. And you sit down and you see that these massive books and you get really stressed out and then you just don't do it. I don't know what genre you like, and I think that really matters when you're jumping into this hobby, because if your first book that you read is something that's like nothing that you were into at all, then you're probably not going to enjoy it, obviously. So really play off of what you enjoy in media. Like if you watch movies that are scary, maybe pick up a horror book. If you watch movies that are fast-paced thrillers, maybe pick up a thriller. If you like romance movies, read a romance book. If your New Year's resolution this year was to read more books, I think you should start with these 5. So I have 5 suggestions that I think that would be great to start with in 5 different genres. And I'm going to start with the book that got me back into reading. This was my first book that I read as an adult, and it was Verity by Colleen Hoover. Now, Colleen Hoover is known for her romance novels. I am not a fan of romance at all, so this is not a romance. This book is a thriller, and it's so good. There's some parts of it that obviously aren't good. In general, like there's some things you might have to skip. First book that I read going into 2023 or whatever year that was, and I said, this is crazy. Like it got so crazy to a point that I had to put it down because I felt sick to my stomach. But it's like really messed up. The lady, Colleen Hoover, I think something's wrong with her brain, because when I read this book, I said, how do you just create this out of nothing? You know, like this stuff had to be inside her head, and it made me worried for her. But anyways, it's a very fast-paced thriller following this girl that goes to this house to be a ghostwriter for this person that was in a tragic accident, and it's just really fast-paced and crazy. There's some scenes in it that made my stomach turn. So just be aware, it's not an easy, I don't know if you would say it's an easy read, but it's definitely one that you don't want to put down. You're like, I have to find out what happens right now. This one actually has an extra chapter in it too. I got the extra chapter edition. So if you want to like have an extra chapter, get this one. Really a crazy book. Bonkers. And it made me realize that I was reading the wrong genres. In high school, I was reading like the romance books, the things that other people were reading, and I didn't like them. And I was like, why do I not like reading? Maybe it's just not my hobby, you know? But I genuinely believe that everybody can love to read if you just find the right one. So check out Verity by Colleen Hoover. The next book that I would recommend that is a literary fiction is Yellowface. Now this one is very fast-paced. It reads kind of like a thriller, but it's not a thriller, okay? So it's just a fiction book. It's about this girl that steals someone else's like work and pretends that she is the author, and then tries to like publish it, and she's basically pretending to be this other person almost. Like she's creating her own persona as if she is an author of this work that wasn't hers at all. It's kind of crazy. I remember really wanting to know what happens because throughout the book, the narrator is the antagonist basically. And so you're like fighting constantly, like, do I want this person to win? Do I want them to lose? Do I want them to win? I don't know. But I went back and forth. So it's really a good fast-paced read for someone jumping into you want to read just a regular fiction book, not a thriller, but it is fast-paced like a thriller. So check out Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. The next one is romance kind of, but it's romantic-y. It's fantasy. So I put romance / fantasy in the same category. If you want to get into that type of genre, fairies and a land that is not here and completely different, I think you should read A Court of Thorn and Roses. This series starts out as YA, so the first book and like the second and third book are more tame, as in like the romance. But then if you get into like the very last book, it's not good. My opinion. I hated that book. So this one though, this one really got me into fantasy. I don't like fantasy. I don't like romance. So this is new for me, right? And so if you're really thinking about getting into that genre, Sarah J. Maas just does a really good job with her writing. I'm currently reading another one by her for my January whatever reading, which is A Throne of Glass. And I really like it a lot. And it made me miss this series. I have friends that reread this series. Like they love this series. It has a lot of politics. The first book is very introductory, world building. The second book is more of the romance. So if you want more romance, the second book is better. In my opinion, the second book is better. The third book is more politics and war. So I feel like all three of the books are like their own fantasy novel in a way, you know, in different ways. So check out this series if you like fantasy, or if you think you might like fantasy. If you want to get into that, check out this one. The next book that I really recommend if you like historical fiction would be 11/22/63 by Stephen King. Now listen. This is a daunting book. Like, it is thick. It is so big. I think it's like 800 pages or something. Hold on, let me see. This book is 842 pages. So it's definitely the biggest book that I've ever read, I think. Ever. I did audiobook it, like mostly. I think I read part of it in the audiobook, the rest. But it is such a good story about timelines changing and this guy going back into time, trying to stop the JFK assassination. Now, I know that sounds crazy, and I talk a little bit more about this in the last video that I did, or one of the last videos that I did. So maybe go check that out. But it's so good. Like, it's so big, but honestly, I feel like it could have been longer. Like, there's so many different plots within this book that it made it worth it. It was like watching a Netflix series I couldn't stop watching. So it's one of those books. It's binge worthy. It's also a book you could come back to and just keep reading throughout a whole month. But it's a big book. But if you're into history, I think you would probably like this one. Last one, and I'm going to put it on the screen because I don't have it physically, is Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. All of his books are very fast-paced. This is a sci-fi thriller, kind of, following this guy that gets thrown into converging timelines. And I know that sounds kind of crazy, and I don't know what you're into as a reader, okay? But that book is so good. It's so good. Sci-fi, fantasy, thriller, crazy energy. Every single chapter ends to where you want to keep reading the next chapter. I really hope that you guys jump into reading this year. I don't know what your plans are for reading, but set a goal. I think my goal this year was like 26, and I know that's low. I'm hoping to, you know, go up higher than that. Now, I know some people don't like to read, and that's fine, but I think that you should give it a chance, okay? Give it a chance. Open a book, sit down with it, and say, hey, I'm gonna read 50 pages, and if I hate this, then put it down and say, I'm not gonna read this anymore. If physically reading it is not for you, right? Because I have some friends that struggle with like dyslexia or something like that. Try audiobooking it. Most of my books, honestly, are audiobooked halfway at least because I work a lot, and so I listen to it in my car, or I put it on my headphones while I'm cleaning or something like that. I'm definitely more of an ADHD prone person. So when I started reading, it was hard for me to jump into reading because I was like, here's what I do with physical books. And this is why it's easier for me to be an audiobooker is because when I'm reading a book, I will be reading a chapter and then I'll stop literally halfway through a page and I'll flip to see how many more pages I have in the chapter because I can't focus. Okay, so I don't know if you're like that or not, but if you are, maybe try audiobooking, because it makes you not look at the pages, makes you not look at it at all. Recently I started reading more on my Kindle, and that really helped me a lot too, because it makes me not check how many pages I have left in the chapter. It says at the very bottom, 2 minutes left in the chapter, or 5 minutes left in the chapter, whatever. It helps my ADHD brain feel like I'm accomplishing something without checking how many pages I have left in the chapter. I hope that these are some books that maybe you would check out. I don't know. Definitely love book recommendations. So if anybody has a good recommendation for me to read next, please drop it in the comments. Thrillers are my favorite, okay? Thrillers are my favorite. Anyways, thanks so much for being here, and I hope you guys have a blessed and wonderful day. Okay, bye.